And I guess we are live. Hello there. How would you like to maximize your exposure in the marketplace in order to get more leads, more prospects, more clients, more customers? My name is Natalie Sabrina Dahl, and welcome to this Facebook Live. First of all, I want to thank you for being here on this beautiful Saturday afternoon, for being here live. And those of you that watch later, I want to thank you too. Thank you from the bottom of my heart, because without you, this wouldn't happen. So what we're going to cover is we're going to cover a formula that will show you exactly, it's 5 steps how to maximize your exposure in order to get more leads, more clients, more sales. How would you like that? So before we go into this, let me introduce myself. For those of you that don't know me yet, my name is Natalie Sabrina Dahl, and I've been in business for over 20 years. And for the past 2.5 years, I've been traveling the world and working with some of the greatest teachers and coaches on this planet. And I'm creating programs that help transform lives. And we're all over the world. Last month, we were in Barcelona. The month before, I was in Florida. The month before, I was in Amsterdam. Next week, we're going to go to South Africa. So I'm really living the life of my dreams, but it hasn't always been like that. 22 years ago, I founded my first company, and I founded my first company with accounting because I knew I didn't want to have a limit to my salary, my income, by a monthly paycheck. And that's why I decided to go into business for myself. And I started being an accountant. And that worked out really well because it was just me, myself, and I was working very well with myself. And 3 years later, I turned my passion into my profession, into a business. And my passion was thoroughbred Arabian horses. And I made a crucial mistake there because when I founded that business, I didn't go out there and see what the market wanted. And because I didn't do that, the business didn't do well. And soon enough, it was not a cash machine, but it was taking a lot of cash out of my pocket. So I had a finance going back to my original business, which was accounting. And I had to soon enough let go of my staff, who was taking care of about 25 horses. And as you can imagine, I was working 24/7 constantly. My marriage went down the drain. My kids, I have 2 beautiful kids, and I had no time for them. I was working constantly. I was on the verge of a burnout, and I sat at the kitchen table one Sunday morning, I remember, and I said, this is it. I can't do this anymore. I started reading books then, because at that time, nobody told me that I should get a coach that would be helping to super speed my success, accelerated. So I didn't know that. And because I didn't know that, I didn't do it. Long story short, it took me about 6 to 8 years to do the turnaround. And because of that, it took a long time. Because of that, my mission now is to help people just like you to get it done a lot faster. Would you like to get a shortcut to success? I'm sure you would. So that's why I created this formula, because I was thinking about what could we do to increase the speed and to accelerate the growth of the business. And I came up with this formula, and it's called CIIPC. I'm going to make sure it's on the screen. CIIPC. What does that stand for? So I'm going to follow Stephen Covey's advice and start at the end. Notes here. At the C at the end. The C at the end stands for credibility. So ultimately, you want to get credibility. Credibility is the key to establish trust. Credibility is the key for people to want to do business with you. And how do you get credibility? Let me ask you this. Do you remember in school when you were sitting in the classroom, when you were watching the teacher in the front? What did you think of the teacher? Did you look up to the teacher? Or remember back if you've been in a seminar or watching somebody do a speech, are you looking up to the person standing on stage? Of course you are. Naturally you are, because you're sitting and they're standing on the stage. And also what happens subconsciously, you perceive that person as being the expert, because that person is up there. So obviously that person must be the expert. And the fastest, absolutely fastest and best way to grow your business and to super speed it is to position yourself on a stage as a speaker. Because naturally people look up to you. Naturally people want to do business with you. So that's what the C stands for. Just keep that in mind. The fastest shortcut to success, position yourself, being a speaker, being the expert. All right, let's go back to the formula. CIIPC. What does the first C stand for? The first C stands for clarity. Clarity about how to position yourself. Clarity about how to brand yourself. Because if you don't have clarity how to brand and position yourself, you're just going to swim in this ocean, in this marketplace of a lot of people that are doing exactly the same thing. Let me give you an example. For example, you're looking for someone to put up a website. So you're Googling it, you're typing in website creation, and then you have a company A and a company B. Both companies are unknown, you don't know them. Company A offers the service for $100. Company B offers the service for $50. Which company are you gonna go for? If you have no emotional attachment to either of the companies, if there's no name behind it, no values, no branding, yeah, most of you are gonna go for company B for $50, right? Because it's cheaper. So in the absence of brand value, of brand reputation, of something tangible that people can attach to, they always deviate to price. And what happens if all we do is base our marketing on prices? We're going to cannibalize each other. Sooner or later, the value and the customer are going to suffer because you can't keep doing that. You can't keep undermining the prices by going cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. I mean, we've seen that in different marketplaces, and it doesn't really work long term. So you need to be unique. You need to set yourself aside, and in order to do that, you need to get clarity. And there's two types of brands, actually. And one of my coaches, JT Fox, always talks about you have to have a brand for yourself, or in other words, how great you are as a person, and you have to have a brand for your company. And that company brand is all about the customers, all about the clients. You make it all about them. In other words, why is your company great for your customer? What can your company do for your customer? Not for you, for your customer. That's right. It's all about the customer. So the first step to maximize your exposure, to get more credibility, and to set yourself apart from everybody else is gain clarity about how to brand and position yourself. If you have any questions, please put it in the comments and I'll answer them later, okay? And if you want to get that formula in writing, this formula, please also type formula down in the comments and I'll send it to you shortly. All right, so we established that you need clarity. So far, so good. If you have any questions, again, type them in the comments. The next thing, the red I stands for inspiration. So still keeping in mind that the fastest way to position yourself as the expert is to speak in front of people on a stage. So what you need to do is you need to be able to inspire people. All the great speakers that we can remember, Martin Luther King, John F. Kennedy, Mahatma Gandhi, all the great speakers that had the ability to inspire, engage, mesmerize the audience. How do you do that? Well, there's three ways actually to do a speech. And the first way, and not very efficient way, is by talking at people. So I don't know if you've experienced that, but I have many times already, where you sit there and all the speaker does is talk at you. Blah, 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 blah. And all that is just a talking head up on stage. You zone in, you zone out. Sometimes it's interesting, sometimes it's not. But the speaker is all about him or herself. And talking at people is not a very efficient way, not a very effective way to speak, not a very inspirational, not a very motivational way. The second way to speak is by presenting to the audience. So what do I mean by that? Presenting to the audience is all about facts, figures, and content. Do you know speakers that all they do is put up one PowerPoint slide after the other? Boom, 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 boom. A lot of information, a lot of bullet points, a lot of stuff that you can barely read it and follow the speaker at the same time. So the focus in this type of speaking is on the content. And while it's a little better than speaking at the audience, it still is not very powerful. It's not very inspirational. I don't know about you, but I am not very motivated, inspired by a lot of facts, figures, and information. And the third way, and it's the only way to really do it, is to be inspirational, is by having a conversation with the audience, by engaging the audience, by building trust, by building credibility, and by having a connection, human connection, because that's what all we do as humans. We crave connection. And there's a lot of tools and techniques we're not going to go into now, how to do that, how to establish a connection with the audience. And that you can do regardless how many people are in the audience. You can do it with 10 people, you can do it with 100 people, you can even do it with 10,000 people. It's all about the technique and how you connect with people. All right, second step, be inspirational. Be an inspiring speaker. And then the third step, the blue I, stands for implementation. Because without implementation, all it is just information in your head. Now you have clarity about your brand and positioning. Now you know how to inspire people, but if you don't implement it, or in other words, if you don't create your speech, if you don't do it, nothing's going to happen. And as JT always says, it's the speed of your implementation that's going to determine the speed of your success. So in other words, the faster you can implement, the faster you can create, the faster you can grow your business. I think all of us want to grow our business. So the third component is implementation. And then number 4, the P. The P stands for something as simple as practice. Yes, practice. Because without practice, it still is just in your head. And without practice, you won't be able to get out of your head when you're up on the stage. Without practice, you're going to be so stuck in there trying to get it right, trying to get the content right, trying to make sure you have everything covered, that you won't be able to connect with people. So I highly encourage you, once you created your speech, you go out there and practice it. Practice it with your kids, with your spouse, with your business partner, with your dog if you have one, anybody who's willing to listen. Just practice, 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 practice. In fact, I practice this, what I'm telling you now, because it's in my head, but as long as I haven't practiced speaking it, it might get stuck in my head and it might not come out right. So very, very crucial, go out and practice. And now to sum this up, we're coming back to credibility. Now you have it all in place. You have your brand. You created your brand. You know how to position yourself. Then you know how to inspire people. Then you're implementing. Then you're practicing. And now what you need to do is get credibility. Because without that, what happens is people are not going to listen to you. Because you're going to be just out there with a bunch of other people doing the same thing. And if you don't stand out by being very, very credible, what's going to happen is that you're going to get lost in the sea of commonality, in the sea of people doing the same thing. So we established in the beginning that the fastest way to become credible is by standing on a stage in front of people. And because my mission is to help, especially coaches, trainers, and authors and small businesses to speed up their success, I thought about how to do this. And I created a program that's going to cover all the 5 aspects of this. And that program is actually a no-brainer because I'm offering it for such a low value. I mean, such a low price, high value, low price. Sorry, my bad. That it is a no-brainer. But I think it's very, very important that you're constantly learning, that you're constantly gaining the knowledge, and that you are getting that credibility. So that program is going to cover all 5 aspects. So first of all, we're going to go into clarity. First C, we're going to go into clarity and define what your positioning is going to be like. Then we're going to go into the techniques on how to be an inspiring speaker. Then we're going to implement. We're going to create your own speech, your own 30-minute speech. And then we're going to practice it in a safe environment, because it's very important. You do it in a safe environment first before you go out there and do it in the real world. And then we're going to give you credibility by taking pictures of you doing it on the stage, giving you your money shot that you can monetize and immediately market it, put it on your Facebook fan page. People are going to ask, they got to say, wow, you were on the stage. What were you talking about? And this will open a lot of doors for you. Excuse me. So if you have any questions, put it in the comments. And I encourage you to book your seat because there is really only 50 seats available, because otherwise we will be there for 3 days. If I would take 150 people, we would be there for 3 days. And again, that will not be very efficient, not very effective, and that's one of my brand values. The programs we provide need to be efficient and effective. And you can find all the details on the site Brand by Speaking. Let me put it in the comments here somewhere. So if you want to know anything more, put it in the comments or contact me directly. I'll be happy to help you. I hope this was valuable. I hope this was helpful. So remember, CIIPC, clarity, inspiration, implementation, practice, and credibility. This will be your fast track to success. My name now is Sabrina Dahl. It was a pleasure doing this Facebook Live, and now I'm going to go enjoy the sun. I encourage you to do the same. Bye-bye for now. Enjoy your weekend.